Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I am going to reflect about the 2 years of my journey, not only on YouTube but my journey as a seeker, as a meditator, somebody who started experiencing that I am something little more than this mind and body, because I was totally identified with my mind for the first 18-19 years of my life, and 2021 was the year for me when I started. On 27th August 2021 I posted my first proper video on YouTube, which was about having memorable conversations. And it was a very significant step for me because I came out of my own mental prison. I was overthinking about starting a YouTube channel because I wanted to share so many things with the world, and I love to build community, I love to work for the community, and I have this huge capacity for social service, connecting socially with people. So I did a lot of that in my college through social work and all of that. But once the COVID started and once my journey also as a chairperson of SWD was over, I had to start from a completely new point. And that is the time when I experienced that I am something little more than this body and mind, because COVID gave me a lot of time to sit with myself, reflect, get back to my hobbies of reading. So I read a lot of books, I watched so many good, wise, and I heard them on YouTube. I started listening to the lectures on Upanishads, which were there by Vedanta Society. And that point when I started to listen to, I started with the Mandukya Upanishad, and that Swami was explaining everything so well, so clearly. And I have always heard people saying that, oh, Vedas are very complicated, those shlokas are very complicated, Upanishads are complicated. But I think when somebody is explaining you in that simplistic way, and now that I've studied my brain design and I have done so many analysis on my own nature and behavior, I have the intellectual capacity to understand it. So that became the starting point of my journey. And I was of course very much connected with the videos of Sadhguru online on YouTube. But during September 2021 I was like formally initiated in Shambhavi Mahamudra. I completed my inner engineering, and those months of my life I have experienced, what do you say, a different kind of peacefulness and a different state of being in general, which I had never experienced before because I was so identified with my mind. So I want to talk about some of the changes that happened from the time I made spirituality a very big part of my life. And it has been such an anchor in my journey that now I cannot worry a lot about my future. So like everybody else, there would be a little bit of concern regarding the future, what may happen. But I was in a compulsive habit of thinking about the future in the first 18-19 years as far as I remember. So I always wanted to be in control and know what is going to happen, and I would think a lot over it, and my energy would get exhausted in thinking. So I understood that I have good intellectual capacity, I'm a thinker, so I need to expose my mind to that kind of knowledge which is so profound, which is actually going to raise my intellectual capacities more and more. And that is the time when I started studying the scriptures. I studied various sciences and theories into understanding human behavior. Now I'm studying brain design. Before that I studied NLP. So it is just expanding my awareness regarding myself more and more, and this deep dive into my own personal development got me to a very different lane of saying that, okay, it's not just the personality, it is not just my body, my mind, it is something more than that. And what is that more is something that I am still exploring, and I absolutely feel at peace when I am in this journey. So when all these things are happening, it feels now that yes, I am in the right place, and I'm doing the right thing. And I needed a lot of validation before that. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? And now that self assurance is somehow just there inside of me, and for that I think one requires to speak honestly with themselves, saying that okay, this is what I think is working for me, and this is something that is not working for me. So identifying myself with all the wrong things, like for example I did with my thoughts and in my mind, which is very, I did it very unintentionally as a child, because before 18 and 19, of course, we are in a teenage, and as a child I did it. But identifying yourself with the wrong things for a long period of time makes you suffer. So people usually ask me, people who are in life coaching industry, they have suffered through so many difficulties in their lives, and then they become life coaches, and people ask me, what is it that you have suffered with? And I really don't have like a very big traumatic or something incident that has happened in my life, but I've suffered my own intelligence being misdirected, and I do not blame anybody else for it, because as a child I was unconscious. My mother and my father and my parents, they have directed me in a very good direction. I was always, exposed to good books, good readings, and they provided everything at their best that they can. But somehow my curiosity about things was the positive part of my thinking abilities, and my negative part was that I wanted to control everything that was happening. Till now, I've understood that okay, my real urge is to be conscious of my actions. And here, when I am conscious of my actions, I know what kind of results they will be bringing. And there is always an element of, nature, luck, whatever you might want to call it. Because, for example, we might have made so many plans, but COVID was in nobody's plans, right? It is something that naturally happened. So I leave the space, room for that to happen. But from the time that I have committed to conscious actions, I think the factor of worrying about things has really, really reduced. So when I got initiated, I meditated regularly, like I completed the 48 days of mandala that we had to complete. And after that, sometimes, I do miss on to my meditations, but it put me on a path. It set me on a path of exploring so many things. And first, when I am in uncertain situations, we all feel lost. I also feel lost, but I am not suffering that feeling. So if I was feeling a certain way in the beginning, I would suffer those feelings, or I would shame myself for being angry or reacting in a certain way. But now I consciously choose to respond, and out of 10 times, if 8 times I'm consciously responding, 2 times I may react, and I am at peace with myself. And I know that this is a journey, and I honor myself where I am in the journey, and that 2 times I forgive myself, I show compassion to myself. And because this is a commitment that I've made to myself, that yes, my actions are going to get more and more conscious as I proceed. And of course, this is the growth graph is never straight like this. It's of course like this and this, but it is like this, which is going upwards. There are ups and downs, but the graph is moving upwards. So that is what I experienced once I really started listening to myself, and I knew that our mental voices, the voices that are there in our head, might misdirect us and take us into different situations. But the voice that is there in our heart, or your inner guidance, your wisdom, that voice can never misdirect us. It always takes you towards the things that are meant for you, the things that are necessary for your growth and exploration. And this is something that is keeping coming up, and it is becoming stronger and stronger. So this was my experience of the last 2 years. And even if something things don't go according to my way, I'm not freaking out like a mad person that I used to. I do get bothered, but I am still centered. I am not running into different directions. I still feel centered. And even if sometimes I want to run in different directions and I want to explore, I do it very intentionally. So intentionally, consciously are the keywords that have been the last 2 years. And I'm very happy by the turn that my life took at that point. And that's why, on 27th August, I make a reflection video to celebrate that day that I really had the courage to listen to my heart. Because once I started to put myself out there and expressing my voice and speaking to people, telling them my story, I reached out to so many people. I heard their stories, and this urge that I had to build to a community, it was getting fulfilled. So I really loved that. And YouTube is not one of my most consistent platform. I am very regular on Instagram to post videos. I don't do a lot of YouTube videos nowadays, but when there is something that I really have to speak from my heart and have a context for it, for example, that there is a background that I need to give and it has to be a long form video, that is the only time that I come on YouTube. But yes, YouTube, Instagram, my social media have been a very good channel for my fearless self-expression, and self-expression plays a very important role in your self-exploration. You might not be a person like me who wants to express it on social media, but you might be a person who wants to express it with somebody who is very close to you, or with somebody who is teaching you, your teachers, your mentors. And talking about mentors, the last 2 years I have got the opportunity to speak to so many beautiful souls, and I have been mentored from point to point, and I learned many other things. I learned brain design, I learned NLP, I learned basics of astrology. Astrology is a very deep subject that I've started studying. And I don't want to make any conclusions about any subject. What I'm trying to understand is the scope of it. How can I use it? Where can I use it? Because whenever you're given a tool or given a science, you need to understand the scope, and then you can understand how will you use it. I've started using NLP and brain design in my life coaching practices. And to understand human beings, astrology also plays a very helpful role in that. And I don't like to tell people what they must be doing, especially in the coaching session. I may give a lot of guidance here on my YouTube and Instagram, but during coaching sessions I just like to hold the space for them to really express themselves. Because once you start expressing yourself, there are so many knots that just get clear in your mind, and you see that, okay, these are my thoughts. When you say these are my thoughts, you disidentify with them. You don't say I am the thoughts, I am the mind. You say, okay, this is something that I created in my head. So now consciously you can replace that thought with something positive. This is something that I have been teaching when I take NLP sessions, when I take life coaching sessions. And I've seen those things working now, not just for me, but for my clients too. And I'm really grateful that nature somewhere made me like that, where I can understand myself and I can hold space for people to understand themselves. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And stay tuned in this journey. It's going to be a very interesting one, and I'll keep sharing my insights with you guys. If you want me to speak about any other topic that you are interested in, let me know in the comments. Bye bye.